What up, though? Y'all know what this is. Respect the worst. If you don't respect the best, top tier podcast. I am Ledge. Let's get right off into this, man. Resolution went down over the weekend. The card in itself on paper looked like it was going to be one of those standout events, not only of the year, but in the past few years, just on paper alone. And that's why it was just on paper alone, because it really turned out to be an average card at best. I think if I have to give it a grade, I don't really like grading, but out of a 10, I would give it maybe a 6.5 to a 7. 7 at the most. Yeah, a lot of cats I expected to turn up didn't bring their A game. And also the crowd didn't present like this great atmosphere. Like, I don't know. It was a weird crowd. And I don't mean that in a good way or a bad way. It was just a weird crowd. There was some premature booing, some justified booing, and then just overall a lack of energy for lines that were dope that didn't get any reaction. You know what I'm saying? So it was like a mixed bag with that crowd. Like, so some lines I thought should have got reaction, didn't get any. Some that I thought were okay got booed, and then there were like premature booing, like for setups that weren't even the punch. Like one of Young Ill's lines that we'll get to later. I want to just go right from the main event with Goods versus Cassidy. I got Goods winning. The majority has Goods winning. It was pretty clear 2-1. I don't want props for saying this. I said it on the resolutions prediction with my fellas MVP, Q, and Jimmy. Shout out to them. I said it played out to me exactly how I said on the podcast. Like literally word for word, basically. The first round for Cassidy was going to be his best round. It was going to be the best version of himself. But like I said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. He's going to gas out. And the material that he has in the first is going to be the same material that he lays out for the third, because he hasn't been in the trenches enough to know how and when to switch up his format, from his patterns to getting out of punching and doing more angling to throwing jokes in, from cadence to just overall pacing. All that stuff comes with repetition. You're not going to get that just overnight or just sparring by yourself in a mirror somewhere. Like, you have to get in the ring to gain the nuances of all that. And you have to be in the ring often. So the first round, he comes out the gate like he's punching off one of his old mixtapes. And I'm not saying that as a discredit to him. It was actually like pretty good punches, or just like overall impact. He has really a nice voice for that. In that venue, his voice really carried really well. Like, even sometimes when cause he got booed rounds 2 and 3, we all like pretty much heard that by now. But even sometimes when he was getting booed, he was strong enough to rap over the boos. I thought that was, you can tell he's been a performer just on some music level type shit, because you're going to get booed, you just over project the booing. And he did that. If there's one thing I could say Balor's could take from him, is that, like, in the face of adversity of getting booed, just like try to get louder than them a bit. And he tried that a few times. It worked sometimes, and then, sometimes he gave in. But like I said, in the first round, he had some good moments, particularly in the first half of his round. He had a couple more dry spots during the middle, and then he had some nice lines towards the end, a sneaker line joint, and so he had a couple other lines I just can't remember off the top of my head. But all in all, it was I guess it was better than Jay Mills' first round against Shine, but it gave you the same feel that Jay Mills' round versus Shine was like, oh, this is a good round. But the difference is I didn't know what Jay Mills was going to come with, but I knew that Cassidy could not keep that level up, because how can I put this? Cassidy is not one-dimensional in the sense of, well, he is one-dimensional in the sense of punching, but he's also one-dimensional in the way he delivers his punches. See, Rum can get away with punching back-to-back all 3 rounds because his setups aren't the same. Sometimes the punch doesn't come back-to-back. He might punch jab, punch, punch. You know what I'm saying? It might come in a different way. He might organize it different. His structure, he might break it apart. Like sometimes he breaks it into like these 2-bar pieces. You know, pretty much Cass just did what Cass normally does and just punch, and it was very slow and methodical. Also, when you look at just sometimes his stage presence was lacking. He would maneuver over the stage. You can tell he was trying to remember his rounds, but he would play it off like he was pandering to the crowd, which I thought was a really slick veteran move. But all in all, first round was good. The last two, I thought his third round wasn't as bad as people made it. The third round, he didn't really get booed. It was just a dead silence, and I just didn't think. I actually thought he was getting somewhere with it. Like he was trying to get a little more personal a bit. He was, trying to come with more substance than just straight punching. But I think by the second round, once he got booed like terribly in the second, he lost the crowd and lost the momentum. Goods got better to me every round. His first was his lightest to me, but his second and third were just, haymaking rounds. Not like he had a haymaker in the rounds, but just as a complete round. Yeah, everything in there. Jokes, grown man bars. He like do a couple of punches, a couple of slick talk, fly talk, angles. Like I said, he was hitting all across the board, man. Goods was really in a almost, I would say almost in rare form all 3 rounds, mostly the second and third. And he took it with a clear 2-1. So for Cass, I don't know. Should he return? Nah, I mean, he should. I mean, if he wants to, he can. I just don't see him beating anybody of the. He's only going to come back for somebody that's probably a top tier name. I just don't see him beating anybody of that ilk. Like, I don't see him beating anybody in that top tier cloth, because the top tiers just have too much star power and just being veterans in this culture and this format of battle rapping. So unless he's talking about maybe stepping down, and also I don't think his level of promotion energy is going to be there. Like with Goods, it was some backstory there, so it made for this type of event. I think if you just try to throw him in a random matchup, the turnout is going to be bad. The fanfare isn't going to be the same. He probably won't promote it the same, and he's probably going to still get smoked. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's like a lose-lose. I think this should just be a one-off if I was smacked. Like, I don't think, you going to the well one too many times is going to pay off on your end. I thought Goods really put a closure to this whole little saga of a battle. And all in all, it was an okay battle. Like I said, Cass had an okay first. Goods had a really dope second and third. So it is what it is, man. I'm going to say Goods should be looking for a bigger plate, maybe a Lux. I don't know. Depends on how that goes. I would say maybe Briz. Somewhere in that lane, maybe. Other than that, I don't see Goods stepping out and getting in the ring too many more times. I don't know who he's amped to battle. So we'll see. The crowd, like I said again, they were a bit indifferent. They were trying to push through, and you can tell with the crowd, they were waiting. They was with Cass, man. They wanted Cass to really show up and go to work. They was waiting for stuff to cheer for. He just didn't give it to them. Like they were pushing through, because some of the lines he's saying, like knocking it, like hit an elephant, the hippo lip up, knock an elephant down, or whatever he said. Like that was pretty basic, but it got a really big reaction. And I was like, oh, we're doing that tonight. Like, no, we're not doing that. But it happened. I would like to say that what it means for the culture is nothing. Nothing. It meant nothing. He had no shot at beating Goods, and it played out that way. And I don't think, even if he did win, nothing would have happened other than him maybe getting a bigger bag to face somebody that was elite and eventually getting smoked anyway. I'm pretty sure the numbers for this pay-per-view probably did really well. But all in all, maybe after this couple of 2.5, 3 weeks die down, it'll go back to just more battles being made. I don't think this was culture shifting at all, as some people will lend it to be. So we'll see. Yeah, moving right along to the rest of the card. Yo, want to talk to you real fast about Anchor, all right? Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you can get paid to podcast. That's pretty dope, right? All you have to do is go to anchor.fm/start. Once again, that is anchor.fm/start. You'll get acclimated. Look, man, on here, there's podcasts for literally everything. Food, movies, entertainment, health, fitness, you name it, they got it. So why don't you come on in, grab a seat, and start podcasting soon. Yeah, so with the rest of the card, man, Rum and T-Top, I said that would be battle of the night, and it was to me. It really was. Rum and T-Top was really good. Rum, first round was more of like, for a puncher, it was more of a jab fest with a couple of punches towards the end that to me edged him in the first. T-Top started off slow. When you're an angler, you really have to make sure you craft really great rounds within rounds. Like, what I mean by that, you got to make sure the story is worth telling, or the angle is worth telling enough that you're willing to waste a couple of more minutes in the build up to lead to a really, really dope line. Like, you don't have that much margin for error because you're wasting time that what most people will call filler, but I just call it just, build up placement. And to me, in the first, he eventually got there with some dope lines, but I just felt like it was a lot of wasted time getting into his material, which lended it for it to be just like a okay round, a good round. T-Top had some moments, but I think Tay-Rock. I think Rum Nitty kind of edged that based off of just having more, material, just a stronger output, punching back to back versus, setups and angles that really like kind of landed but didn't land. He had bars too, but I don't know. I just wasn't as impressed with his first as some people were. Second round, Rum dumbed the fuck out, man. Look, Rum Nitty is the best puncher of all time. Period. And I didn't need this second round to really verify that. I thought that because he punches in a different way. Like, he schemes with punches. He can, triple doubles and triple entendres with punches. His punches can mean different sort of, like, he's punching at an advanced level, not just his second round versus T-Top, bro. Yo, man. You put that... You know how people say every bar, and it don't really be every bar? This probably is about as close to every bar as you'll get from any MC that you've seen battle rap. I really only, out of the amount of punches he threw in this second round, could be anywhere in the 20s somewhere. I don't know. I wasn't, but I can tell you, let's say if it was like 25, 20, I probably only counted 3 punches that didn't land for me. Like, he was hitting at such a high rate. He was hitting at such a high clip with these punches, man. My goodness. Like I said, what did I tweet out? Like, if I'm T-Top, I'm just throwing out a mixtape round. Like, I'm throwing out mixtape bars the second round. There's no way he was getting that. And he tried. He didn't really try. I mean, his round was okay. It was solid. Rum had just so much. Oh my God. Like, I'm speechless because I'm thinking that all the lines are like flying past me. What was the YNW Melly line, and all the T-Top name flips, the black top on the court. Why was he doing them like that? All right, man. So, like, I already had Rum really winning 2-0. Like, he was up 2-0. Third round was just like to see where you get a 3-0, and not at all. Reverse the curse. Like, T-Top killed him in that third. Like, it was bad. this angle about him working at Walmart and flipping some of his best lines, whether it was the MOP ante up and things like that. Like he would flip it into a Walmart shopping, working for Walmart type of scenario. So the MOP and ante up, all that, like that shit was crazy. Then the whole, having people repeat self checkout and ending it with a Tech 9 bar that kind of was like one of probably the biggest haymaker of the night, really, if I really think about it. Like that shit shook the room, and Rain told him to just end your round right there, because that was phenomenal, and it was a phenomenal way to end it, man. Like T-Top is an angle master, bro. Like I figured he was gonna use that angle when I really like started doing it, but I was like, how can he make it hit? And that's the beauty of because people don't want to give T-Top credit for being a dope writer for some reason. But I feel like if you're a dope angler, you have to be a dope writer to convince people of things that may or may not be true, to make them believe in some sort of fashion that it could be true or that it is true. It takes a lot of artistry in your writing to like craft it out to, paint a picture. So like T-Top is an underrated writer in that aspect. And I think he showed that in that third round. I just think he wasted the first 2 rounds trying to show Rum that he can like have bars too, and he did a lot of rum flips that never really hit. Like rum flips just don't work for whatever reason. Like I don't know why. Maybe because it's liquor, it's just shots and all. It just don't hit. So I got Rum 2-1. Rum second round incredible. T-Top's third round masterful. Best battle of the night clearly. Quick rundown on these other battles. Like I'm not even gonna hold you. Tay-Rock and Shine was underwhelming. I got Shine winning 2-1. Nothing really memorable, really. Briz versus Ill Will was probably the most disappointing battle of the night. Just from a sense of people, Briz has been on a nice run. I think it's been a little bit over sold and overhyped. I mean, because they're like 2 wins versus Loso and Wavy, and people were calling him like the most dangerous battle rapper. Like you don't want to face Briz. I'm like, let's take it easy. like let's relax a little bit, all right? Like, but whatever, you know how it is. Like it's just that instant success brings like instant like credibility for people, and I'm like, okay, all right. But and then the return of Young Ill, I felt like he was gonna, bring us a different level of lyricism and wordplay. It was kind of like a mirror match, because I feel like Briz does a lot of what Ill used to do, but Ill at his best does it better. And some degree that played out sometimes, but for the most part, it was just, I don't know. People were saying that Briz first round was crazy, and I feel like people just fast forwarded 2.5 minutes of Briz first round when he wasn't getting no reaction and his lines were falling flat, up until he started cooking with the more views than this nigga. Who was this nigga? Like all of that. Like that's when he started cooking. But look how long his round was. I feel like Briz is the only person in battle rap who can benefit from having longer rounds, because he can heat up late. Whereas we always tell Chess, like, man, if you shorten your rounds, like you will be fire. Well, I feel like Briz got fire way late in his round, but like people are giving him credit for having I don't know. Like, I don't know where everybody else was at the first 2 minutes of his first round, but that's just me. Ills came out gunning, but ultimately just like wasn't there. His second round was better. He incorporated the jokes, his funny, humorous side that we all came to know and love. He edged the second, and people were saying the third was a toss up, but I just gave it to Briz because neither one of them was spectacular. I just liked a few more of Briz's lines the more I look back at it. So Briz 2-1, a forgettable battle. Chef Trez and Suge started out great. I thought Suge came with energy first round. But Trez matched his energy. Then hit him with some fire rebuttals that you can't prepare for him. No, even if you bring up, you might rebuttal this, but rebuttal that, or whatever even if you make references to his rebuttals, when he rebuttal, it's still gonna be fire somehow. Like Chef Trez clearly got the first, second debatable. I didn't like this prop when Suge brung out the apron and the whole hat. It just took away from his round. I don't need him to be creative. I need him to be a bully. And he just wasn't giving me that in that round. I think he won the third, though. But I got Chef 2-1. I got Chef 2-1. Rounds 1 and 2. Rounds 1 and 3. I thought the third round was his better round. Chef 1 and 3. So I got him winning 2-1. It was a good battle for the first round. The last 2 rounds were just whatever, you know what I'm saying? And it kind of played out like I said. Suge, after his energy, because his first round is carried by energy and aggression because he's fresh. He gets tired, he gets fatigued, his energy level goes down. His words, pronunciation of his words fades, and you get a hard time grasping what he's saying. He's breathing heavy, he's not moving as much, and now you just have to listen to his material, and he's never been the lyricist. So it played out like that. New Jersey Twerk versus John John was probably the second best battle of the night. Twerk was in rare form the first 2 rounds, clean, crisp. The first round, bombing on him. Second round, bombing on him. John John first was light, super light. John John second started off light, and then he took off in the second. Like I thought his second round was really good. I think people need to really go back. He was taking off. He was fighting back. He was really, really fighting back. Then third round comes Twerk's turn. I wouldn't say he Jersey, but he does this whole thing. You know, Goonies love bringing the other Goonie out to jump in their round. So Jack Boy came howling at John John. John John is waving it off, like talking like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Cutting Jack off. The crowd boos. The crowd boos something crazy because he ain't let Jack rap. Then they get into a tussle and they break it up. It's a bit of an intermission. And then John John comes to try to rap. They boo the hell out of him. It was just a nasty way to end that battle. Could have been a fire third from both. Who knows? But at the end of the day, Twerk won that battle anyway, the first 2 rounds. Like I said, John John fought back to make the second debatable, but I still gave that second round to Twerk. So I had the 2-0 either way. Anyway, excuse me. So that's really it, man. I ran through them pretty fast because it really wasn't much to talk about. I'm not about to sit here and try to drag this thing out. Next card is known for URL. No battles have been announced but Lux and Verb. We'll start focusing on that. I got a really good feeling that Houston, the crowd is going to be better, and the matchups is going to be better, and the battlers are going to bring it. So hopefully for a better card, man. But salute to them for trying out Atlanta. What do you guys think? Should they go back to Atlanta? Maybe if it's more of a PG thing where it's like new flavor or something. I don't know. We'll see. Look, thanks for tuning in. I had a good time covering this stuff, man. Like I said, subscribe to me. Click like. I'm on YouTube, Top Tier Podcast. Follow me on Twitter at Podtier, Podtier. And as always, keep it battle rap. Love.